it felt like to me, she was weaponizing our daughter against me.
I do care.
Lo and behold, she had installed a camera in the house. The allegation was I had said that if I wasn't a police officer, I would F her up. But she knows I would never do that. That's what angers me the most, because she knows I'm not a violent person. The sergeant, they're trying to play good cop, bad cop with me. The DS banging on the table. He's like, yeah, you didn't want to pay the mortgage. You were financially controlling her.
Even though you work for the police force, they still treat you the same as they would treat me. As
Worse.
What's going on, people, and welcome back to the Baby Fathers podcast for another brand new episode. I'm your host, and I go by the name of DJ Ridler. Before I start today's show, I need you lot to do me a big favor. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the notification button so anytime an episode comes out, you can be the first to know. Don't forget to like and make sure you share this video. All right, so listen up. On today's show, we have another special guest. He goes by the name of
Dominic Efutal.
Yeah, I'm going to say thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me, bro.
I think we spoke a good few years ago about you coming on. So I'm going to say it's now finally happening. So I'm going to say thank you once again for coming down.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Nah, thanks for having me again once, bro, because it's been a long time, a long 2 years. I remember that first phone call, and I remember why I couldn't come on at that time. But yeah, I'm just glad to be here finally, being able to speak.
All right, so listen, what has brought you down to the Baby Fathers anyway? What's brought you down here today?
Okay, so should we just start, just get into it, yeah?
Well, before we actually get into it, I have to put a disclaimer out there, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so anything what you say today is your truth, and it's your truth only. No one can't say anything different because it's coming from you, how you understand it, and how you see it to be what you have gone through. All right, so I have to really put that out there.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, so okay, we will start from the beginning for the reason why you're here.
Yeah.
All right, before I do that though, how many kids do you have?
Got 2.
And how many baby mothers you have?
2.
All right, so obviously I'm taking it the first mother you hear about is like the first mother.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're gonna start from the beginning of that situation. Is how did you lot first meet?
We met from online. It was I would say it's crazy, but nowadays it's quite normal. It's normalized. This was years ago, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. So we met online and everything was all right. It was just normal relationship, or the way I would consider a normal relationship. Not abusive, nothing. Just 2 people that really liked each other and each other's company. And then our relationship, reflecting on it. So at the time you're thinking everything's fine, but when you reflect on stuff and hindsight, you're like, actually, some of those things were actually quite toxic. And I'm not only talking about her, I'm talking about both of us. The relationship, parts of it were quite toxic. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but when you acknowledge it, it's like, yes, I don't want people to come here and think, oh, he just thinks he's perfect. I'm not. There were parts from both of us that weren't great. But we met online. Things were great. Things were okay, should I say. And then we decided to have a child. Okay. But the toxic parts of our relationship came from always breaking up and getting back together again. And at the time, I sort of normalized it. And I don't know if she did, but I'll only talk for myself. It was normalized behavior.
And how many months or how many years was you with each other before you decided to have a baby with each other?
5?
5 years?
6, yeah.
Okay.
5. So you'll see later on why my memory is kind of, for certain things, it's difficult for me to remember certain stuff. But I'd say roughly 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So what's happened is, because as I said, I gave context about us breaking up and all that. Before we had our child, we had broken up. And then I remember this like it was yesterday. I got a phone call and I was in, for context, I'm a police officer for anyone that doesn't know. I was sitting in the van and I got a message from her and I was thinking, why are you messaging me kind of thing? And then she was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, okay. And I was always I'm the person that if I'm having a child with someone and they're going to have it, regardless of whether I want it or not. And that's not to say I didn't want my child. That's just saying for all circumstances. I will always be present. I'll not necessarily be with the mum, but I will be present. That was a promise I made to myself. But in this case, I was like, oh, we can just give it another go. It's no problem. We were together for a long time. And we well, to me, it was all minor stuff, arguments, it was silly things. It wasn't anything major. Like, oh my gosh, you threw me down the stairs kind of thing. It was none of that at the time. So yeah, now fast forward to we've had the child and things were once again, it was just going back into that same model of breaking up, back together again, because I don't know if it was the stress, because at the same time we decided to buy a house. So we were looking for a house and she was living with her mum at the time.
Okay.
And I was at home. I was more than happy to live at home. Like for me, my mum always drilled it into me, don't leave until you can. Don't leave until you can. You don't have to leave this house until.
So your mum is saying, so you buy a house?
Yeah, she's like, buy it. You're not leaving here unless you're buying a house. That's the only reason you're leaving this house is I'm never going to kick you out. That's how she was. So then going on to buy the house there was a lot of stress around that because obviously the baby's coming at that time. So we're trying to buy it before the baby actually comes. But baby was here by now. And there was a lot of stress within the relationship. And that was during COVID as well. So you can imagine a lot of people were stressful over COVID. Me, I was still at work. She wasn't, kind of thing. So I can't imagine. So a lot of this is hindsight now. So reflecting on it, it must have been crazy hard for her, being stuck in the house with a newborn child. And for further context, she had another child as well. So she had a child from before.
Previous relationship she had one from.
Yeah. So that must have been difficult for her. And I can acknowledge that now, maybe not at the time, if that makes sense. But yeah, went through COVID. I was still going to work. I would say it felt like to me, she was weaponizing our daughter against me.
By doing what?
So it was, we would have broken up for something, and I can't remember any specific argument. So it wouldn't have been anything massive. And then it was sort of like, well, if you're not with me, you're not seeing her, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then it would go from that to, oh yeah, if you want to see her, then you're not allowed to go too far away with her, kind of thing. And that's the way I felt. Whether it was the way that it was or she meant it, who knows? But that's the way I felt about it. I remember a day jumps out to me where I wanted to just take it was the summertime, so I wanted to just take her to the park, kind of thing. Or just take her, just take her out, just be a dad. I don't know, like, because obviously it was my first child. I just wanted to spend time with her.
Just with you and the daughter, just with you and your child.
And just be like, oh yeah, take a buggy. And she'd be like, oh, where you going, kind of thing. And I'd be like, I haven't really planned that far, to be completely honest with you. I just sort of want to take her out because I can.
Yeah.
And she was like, nah, like, you can go as far as, like, the park across the road.
So she actually didn't trust you?
It felt that way, yeah. It felt that way. So that was a lot for me. But yeah, those are the kind of experiences throughout the COVID situation. I would be going to work. I'd want to see my daughter every weekend. I'd go every weekend because she was up north and I was down south.
Okay.
So it wasn't like we lived next door kind of thing. So it was a journey for me. And I can see how it would be strenuous for her. And she may have been angry with some of the decisions that I made, i.e. not being there every day kind of thing.
But was that because of work or just because where she lived?
It was both. Okay. So if I could have been up there more, but it would have put so much of a stress on me for work because at the time I was working in like the gangs unit and we would be working like, what we used to say is when we're at work. So there was a period where we found a house now. She's moving down south. Everything's sort of rosy because there was pressure from her in terms of like, let's get it done. But I've never bought a house before at that time, but my family had, and I've got a lot of friends that had, so they were giving me advice and they were like, look, use this person. And what was happening was I was taking their advice, but she was like, nah, like my friend bought the house in this time, so why isn't it being done now? And I was sort of like, nah, look, chill. It's going to take a period of time. Don't worry, kind of thing. I'll get it done. And that's what I love my friend for this.
Got any tissue in you?
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love him for this. because he said to me, he said, bro, whenever you ever said something and you haven't done it, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. So he said, you're going to do it. It may take time, but you're going to do it and it's going to get done. And lo and behold, it gets done. Like, bought the house and everything. But I was like, yeah. Like, and he like, you know when someone like talks energy into you, and you know, when you speak about it, you're just like, oh, snap, that was really important. But yeah, he said that to me and I was like, yeah, man. And I got it done. We eventually, and just before we decided to move in, there was another like big argument about nothing. When you know, like when you reflect on it, it was so nothing that I can't remember what it was. But maybe it meant a lot to her. So I wouldn't want to dismiss her experience and like how she felt about it. So maybe it was big to her, or maybe it was big to me at the time, but it's not big now. Why are you taking so long? Because we got the house now. I used to go to work. Then there would be builders to do certain stuff, but I was doing the other stuff. So I was doing like the walls, I was doing the electrics with like my uncle. I was doing a lot. So I didn't have free time.
And let me just ask this question: when you bought the house, did she contribute to the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was joint done.
More upon that. So she contributed, massively. I say massively, but like, equally. But that we'll touch on that in a sec, and then we finally get it done. Because of the stress, I was saying to her, look, do you know what? We're still arguing. It's probably not healthy for us to move into this house. So we need to make a decision. We're either going to be together or we're not. Because once we move into this house, that to me, that's it. We're doing it. And she was like, yeah, cool. Obviously not like that, but I'm just... So I said, all right, cool, we'll make a go of it. We're still arguing, but we'll make a go of it kind of thing. So we move in, and then obviously this is still COVID times, and I'm still at work. So work is the same. I'm getting paid the same. And a lot of people during COVID, like getting paid was difficult. Yeah. And I don't really want to talk too much about her job because I don't think it's appropriate as such. Yeah. But she had a pretty normal job. It's nothing crazy. But it looked like she might lose her job kind of thing. So she was like, oh, I don't know if I can pay for the mortgage. And I was like, do you know what? I can afford everything until we resolve this, until either COVID stops or you go back to work or you don't go. Like, until there is some certainty around your working, I can pay for everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. I think the one bill she paid was the council tax. Okay. So I wouldn't want to lie and be like, I paid every single bill. So, but everything else was me. The mortgage was me. The electrics, the heat, everything was me. But so she moves in, brings down obviously the kids. I move in, no problem, because it's not too far from where my mum was living, and then things are okay-ish.
So she's, sorry to interrupt you. So because she's got other kids, she's obviously changed the school to be in your area. She's done all of that. So she's come and changing her whole life to live in South.
Yeah, which is commendable to say the least. But I want to rewind because there's a bit I forgot. Because people will say, like, didn't you see red flags? Because we're gonna get to the end, so I might as well just address it now. I did, and I remember the main red flag I saw about her, and it was the biggest flag. And I knew what it was at the time that it happened. We were sitting down. This is when she was heavily pregnant, and she went. Her phone rang, and it was her other baby father. And I hadn't really done much research on him. She used to tell me whatever. I had seen him, I think, and he seemed like a nice enough person, like no real concerns or anything. And I'm an advocate for especially boys to see their dads, because she has a young boy. I used to be like, yeah, no, he must see his dad. Whatever it is, he must see him. Because as much as I'm a stepdad or whatever, I'm not his dad. And he's got a dad that wants to be there. So I'm not into that stuff of keeping
trying to block it. Yeah.
So I used to advocate. I remember her phone rang one day and I was like, and it wasn't a thing where she used to hide her phone or anything. So the phone's ringing. I remember I was sitting on the floor and I look and I see it's him. And I'm just like, cool. And she doesn't answer. And I was just like, you're right. Like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, no, I just don't really fancy talking to him. And I was like, are you going to talk to him or does he want to talk to his son?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, he wants to talk to him. And I just was like, did he do anything to you? Is he harassing you? Like, no. I just can't be bothered with him today. And I was just like, but he wants to talk to his son. And she was like, yeah, I just don't want to, I can't be bothered with him today. And I was like, but the way you feel shouldn't affect whether your son speaks to his dad. And she was, I don't care. And that was big red flag. I remember we had I remember having a talk with her about it and saying, no, that's not okay. You cannot do that to someone, because if he simply wants to talk to his son, let his son say, I don't want to talk to your dad. Don't do that. But and as far as I was aware, there was no issue with dad and son. So I was just sort of like, why are you blocking it just because of whatever feelings that you're in?
So was she ever hiding it that there was an issue between the son seeing the dad, or did you used to see the dad come and take the son and go away? Or
I rarely used to see him, but I used to. So it was all what she used to tell me. Okay. So there will be times that I may be there and he's not there. So I'm like, oh, he's with his dad, kind of thing. And it seemed as though that he did see his dad. Okay. So I was like, yeah, good. He should be seeing his dad, kind of thing. And I know he did later on. So like when we go back to when we had our house, his dad came to the house before, and I was like, no, you must come to the house. You should come here.
And how was you lot together? Like, was it like?
Nah, we didn't really ever speak, kind of thing. It was just a hello kind of thing. But I don't know why. Maybe I come across intimidating or whatever. But I'm like, I would have let man come inside the house, sit down. He could have seen his son inside the house. I would have left the house.
But did he know? Did he know your job role? What you was at that time, or was it something?
Know, probably, maybe his son might have told him. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think it would have been. He's not that kind of person. I didn't ever get a vibe of someone that would have had a problem with me being a police officer. Such. I never really felt as though it never got put to me that there was ever an issue with my job or who I was, or it never got back to me. So whether she hid it or what, but it just didn't seem like it, to be honest.
Got you. How long were you lot with each other inside the house before it started getting toxic?
Probably like weeks or months. So as I said, this is all from my perspective, as you said earlier, but I like to just reinforce that, because I'm going to say some stuff and people are going to probably get upset, or she may get upset, but it is what it is at this point. There was a time where I tried to get her another job because one of my boys rang me, and I'm not going to say the company because I don't want him to get in trouble, but he rang me and he was like, yo, he tried to recruit me. And I was like, nah, I'm calm where I am. And he goes, do you know anyone else that, like, if you know anyone that wants any type of job, because it's the type of the company, just tell them I'm on the recruiting, blah, 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 blah. Just give me the name, give me the CV or whatever, and I'll make sure they get through, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, do you know what, actually? And then we went through all the roles, and I said, oh, yeah, my partner would enjoy that. And he was like, yeah, we got roles there, it's calm, and you can work from home, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is perfect. So I said to her, I sat down with her and I said, look, it's pretty much guaranteed. You've got the experience. You do this already. You're good at what you do. Yeah, just apply. And she was just like, yeah, I'll see.
She wasn't too thing about it.
She weren't really feeling it. But I was telling her, look, as much as I can afford the bills, and this is how I tried to sell it to her to go and get back into work. Right now, we're living a comfortable life with me paying everything. And yeah, it's probably great for you, but for me, it's not that great. But let's say I'm making 3K a month at this time. We've got a house. I said, do you know how many people our age have houses? We've got a house, 3-bedroom house. We're living here. Life is good. This is easy for you. Just go back to work, get this job, get paid just even 2K, and we are laughing. We're bringing in 5K for a house, and the bills are tiny right now. So we'll be going on holiday. You could have a nicer car. We could do all these fun stuff. And that's when she dropped a massive bomb for me that I was like, that's when I just switched off. I was out. She goes, I don't want to go back to work. I want to be a stay-at-home mum. And I was just like, and the reason that was, that's a struggle for me, not just financially, because financially it was annoying, but it wasn't like,
so how many months or years was you paying everything?
This was like, let's say about 6 to 8 months in.
Okay.
And then she was like, yeah, I want to be a stay-at-home mum. And I was like, I've been raised only with women. My dad was around, but no, he didn't live with us, kind of thing. all the women in my family work. My mum is like, she's from Guyana. Do you know what I'm saying? She works hard. She worked, like, growing up, my mum was never there because she was always at work. She was working. She sent 3 kids to private school by herself. Obviously, there was some help from my dad. I'm not going to take that from him. But do you get what I'm saying? So I went to private school up until secondary school. So I don't understand that. I don't understand not going to work at all. Like, I know my dad works, even though he wasn't always there. I know my mum works. I know my sister works. I know my other sister works. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to go to work? Like, I don't understand.
It was confusing. You find it confusing.
Yeah. So it's just unheard of for me. And I don't know, maybe it's a British thing. I don't know. Or maybe it's a cultural thing for her. And I was just like, at that moment, when she didn't really want to change her mind and she was adamant that's what she wanted to do. And I even said to her, look, that's going to put a massive struggle on me, because especially paying for the nursery, and I'm paying for the nursery fees as well. And we split those, I'll be fair. But I'm like, nah, it's too much. Because what the life I want to live and give to my child, I'm not going to be able to do it if if I'm also paying for you too, kind of thing. Yeah. So I was like, nah. So I think that was, for me, the end of the relationship, even though I didn't vocalize it.
So after that took place, what happened after that?
To me, things weren't changing. She weren't trying to say, oh, I want to get another job. She wasn't saying, like, nothing was, like, things were only getting more difficult for me and more stressful. And it just got to a point where we would have arguments, and I call it dishwasher gate. We'd just come from, like, my mum's house. It was a Sunday. It must have been a Sunday, but it might not have been. But I'm saying it was a Sunday. And we'd gone down there in 2 different cars. She'd got back before me to the house, and I pull up in the driveway, I jump out, and her son's job is to do the dishwasher. So I used to be pretty close with him. Do you know what I'm saying? I treated him pretty much. Yeah, I treated him the same as my daughter. So I treated them the same. They would. I knew. I didn't ever believe he was my son. I would never be like, oh, this is my son. But I was never gonna treat him any differently. I treat him how I treat the son I've got now. And his roles in the house were, you got to take the rubbish out, but his mum pushed back on certain stuff. And I was just like, why are you pushing back on, like, taking the rubbish outside? He needs independence, and he also needs strict boundaries because he's a boy. And like, she sort of negotiated, oh, he can do the dishwasher kind of thing. And I said, fine. But the dishwasher must be done. And what I used to do is I used to add extra stuff for him to do. So because I would whenever I was home and he would get home when I'm there, I'd be like, go upstairs, get changed. Here's the order of things. Go upstairs, get changed, get something to eat. I'll make you food. Do your homework. I'm here and we'll do your homework together. Then do the dishwasher, then do whatever you want. I said, you can do that. If you can do that in an hour, then you've got until bedtime to play PlayStation all night. Yeah. I'm like, I got you a PlayStation, you've got a TV, you've got the best internet money can buy. I'm here, I advocate for you to be playing on the internet, whatever games you want to play within reason. So there's you're living a good life. So all you have to do is your homework and the dishwasher. Yeah. And I remember this day, we've come back, it's a Sunday, and I've walked into the house and I've looked into the kitchen and mum's doing the dishwasher. So I've looked at him and I've said, rhetorically, obviously, why is your mum doing the dishwasher? And he's young, so he doesn't get me being rhetorical. But his mum turns around and goes, oh, no, it's all right. And I said, no, it's not all right. Go and do the dishwasher. So he jumps up. Nope, didn't argue or nothing. Went to go and do the dishwasher. She spins around to me and goes, she was about to say something. And I just went, no, kind of thing. Nah, he's doing it. And she weren't having that at all. So she was really upset about it. And you can feel the aura, the vibe of someone's angry with you. So she didn't even turn around. He started doing it. And then I think he must have went upstairs, or she sent him up. Like, there's an issue. What's the problem? And she's like, you dismissed me. You didn't take what I had to say. You just wanted to do what you wanted to do. I said, yes, because he's got rules. And I'm not going to let you baby him out of it. Like, essentially, because I could see where it was going. It was going, oh, yeah, I'll just do it. No, we're not doing that in this house. And she just went, yeah, well... And then she started swearing. I ain't going to swear on the show, but she was like effing and blinding. And I said, look, no. We don't talk to each other like that. And we definitely don't talk like that in front of the children because daughter's downstairs, son's at the top of the stairs, isn't it? She was just like, oh, or what kind of thing. Bear in mind, I am the most chilled out person you'll probably ever meet. And that's other people's words, not mine. I'm not violent. I am violent when it's necessary. So I fight. I do K1 and Muay Thai. I've been fighting for years. So I fight. I fight on an amateur level. Probably maybe go pro before I decide to retire because I'm old. Just to say I've done it. But I've been fighting for years. But I'm not a violent person outside of the ring. And the argument's gone from the kitchen into the living room. And we're standing in the living room now. And I'm standing about 10 meters, I won't say 10, maybe 5 meters away from her. And she's gone, oh, what are you going to do if I don't stop swearing? And I was just like, you'll see, innit? And then she swore again. And I walked up to her and I just went, and this is petty, I'll admit it, but I'll say it because context. I just said, all right, have fun being a single mum of two. And I just turned around and walked off. Yeah. I said, I'm not like, because remember, there's a whole build up of stuff before this. And this is, for me, that was my explosion. Didn't shout at her, didn't fight her, that's not me. I just said, all right, have fun being a single mum, innit? I just walked off, walked out the house, got in my car, drove to my mum's house, fuming, innit? I'm just salty. I'm salty. I'm not like angry, like kicking and punching stuff. I'm just like, why are we arguing about dishwasher? That's all I could say to myself. I was just like, why are we arguing about? And I laugh about it. I called it dishwasher gate, but it was just like, this is so dumb. I can't believe I'm arguing about an inanimate object to the point where now I've walked out of my house essentially saying, oh, my relationship is done kind of thing. It was done. I switched off before, but now I've articulated it. Yeah.
Did you ever go back after that, or was it done from then?
Nah, it was done. So I articulated it was done to her. Like we're no longer together. But I went back home, and obviously I'm jumping over stuff that I don't think is appropriate to talk about, if that makes sense. Okay. But we've had conversations. I said, look, we should just co-parent, because as much as I said I don't want to be with you, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be a functional unit for the children. So I was like, look, I can, if you want, I can move out the house. I think I said something along these lines. I can move out. And she was like, no. At the time, she was like, no, I don't want you to move out, kind of thing. I said, all right, cool. But what we can do is I can pretend to be in the house. So I'll be in the house the normal times, but then I'll leave in the evening and I'll go elsewhere. Okay. And I won't sleep here. But sometimes I may need to. But generally, I won't be here. And I said, look, you can essentially do whatever you want in the house. You can have next boyfriend, next man. I don't care, kind of thing.
But why you're telling her this, who's going to be paying for the house?
I said we should split it now.
Okay, so you're going to pay 50-50?
Yeah, of course. Because my daughter's there. So I was like, yeah, we can split it at this point. Because I still have access to the house. I'm still going to be there every day. Okay. I'm not going to sleep. You're not sleeping there. And it wouldn't have been a thing if she was like, oh, my friends are here. Do you mind if you is it cool? Because her friends did come round. It was no big deal. You can pretend like it's your house. I don't care. I honestly don't care. And in the beginning, I think she sort of accepted it because she thought I would come back. But I don't think she realised how done I was, if that makes sense, of, going into the house, pretending I'm there, leaving in the evening. And then it started to get a bit more frosty, where she started being a bit more difficult in terms of seeing the children or taking them. She was like, oh, why don't we just do each weekend we can see the children? Because she realised I didn't want to be with her anymore. So if you're not with me, kind of thing, then you're not with this family. Well, I'm not going to pretend to be a family for you. So I was just like, oh, here we go. I was like, we need to be effective co-parenting. And then there was a time when she decided that she wanted to put a camera in the house. She was like, I don't trust you. I think you're bringing women around this house. I'm going to start putting cameras in the house. I was like, no, you're not. You ain't putting no damn cameras in this house. Don't be silly. There's cameras. I've got cameras on the outside. You've got access to it, so you can see who comes in this house anyway. Fast forward. And this is where it comes in. This is where my job is very important about this story. She's installed a camera in the house. She started to watch me in the house. And
did you know she put a camera in the house at the time?
No, I didn't know she was watching me in the house. So I'm there. So I'm at work. And let me think of how I'm going to explain this correctly, because I want it to make the most sense. I was at the house one day. No, I was at the house doing the normal daddy thing. I leave the house in the evening. At this time, I'm in a new relationship, so a lot of time has passed. This isn't weeks, this is months. I mean, I'm seeing someone, and I get a phone call. And no, I don't get a phone call. Sorry, this is where the memory bit is a struggle. I go to my mum's. I have my daughter. This is the phone call situation. I get a phone call from her mum saying, come back, I need help. And I'm like, nah, this is a trap. I leave my daughter with my mum. I say, Mum, let me go and see what this woman wants. Drive back to the yard now. As I'm going back, I get a phone call from one of my brethren. It's a woman. And she goes, yo, Tom, you cool? I'm like, yeah. She goes, why is so-and-so calling me? Obviously, my ex. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, she called me. She just called me and she said that we're sleeping together. I was like, us? And I couldn't explain how it isn't. Like, the relationship between me and that person was we fight in the same gym kind of stuff. We've known each other for years, but it was never a thing where we used to like even meet up outside of what we do, innit?
It's just gym. Gym is gym.
Yeah. So she was just like, yeah, no. She's called me and she's saying that we're sleeping together. I spoke to her. I said, no, it's not like that. We're like bro and sis. Like, it's not that at all. I was like, cool, no problems, yeah. Get back to the house. And then she's like, I'm like, you're right. Go upstairs, you're right. She's sitting in the bedroom. She goes, you left your computer on. I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, okay, well, I went through your computer and you've been talking to women. And I was just like, yeah, because we're not together. But furthermore, why are you going through my stuff? She's like, nah, I don't like the way you've been talking to these women. You said this and you said that. And I'm just like, is this all you wanted? Kind of thing. And she was like, nah, we're going to talk about this. And I was like, but we're not to get like, I don't know how else to explain this to you. But while this is happening, my boys are ringing me and I'm cancelling it because I want to give her the attention that she wants. Then I start getting text messages. Man, them are saying, yo, she's screenshotted all of your stuff and she's putting it on the internet. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't care, innit? Because I'm like, well, what is in there that's going to make me worried? And they're like, yeah, but she's like narrating stuff and she's wilding. And I said, it don't matter, innit? I said, it doesn't matter. What? It's gonna, like, if I'm talking to women, I'm talking to women. It don't matter because I'm a free man. Then, so we're sitting there. She's talking to me. And her tone changes and she softens up and she's like, oh, do you know what? Look, we can fix this. No, I don't want to be in this kind of relationship anymore. It's mad. It's toxic. We're toxic to each other. It's long. And hours go by. She's talking. And I'm getting text messages from different men saying, yo, she's wilding. They all took screenshots of it because they were like, you're going to need this later. For some reason or another, you're going to need this later. She goes, all right, cool. I'm so sorry. I'll delete it now. So she deletes everything off of her profile. She stops cussing and she's like, look, we can be together. I said, no, we can't. I said, I know what you've done. I know you've been through all my stuff. I know you posted all my stuff. And you know what? I said, I don't even care.
Just to stop you there, was you ever sleeping with her when you lot? So it was literally...
So do you know what's... I don't even really want to say this.
Think about it then before you say what you're going to say.
No, but it just gives more context. We stopped sleeping with each other way before we broke up.
Okay.
Do you get me? So the relationship was struggling. So it wasn't a thing like that at all. And yet, no. So I wasn't giving her any inclination of we are going to get back together. Okay, let me take that back. Yes, I did. In the sense, and I understand why she thought it. Her birthday, I would celebrate it with her. Okay. Do you get me? In the terms of we're at home, I bought her a cake.
We're now to move a bit forward from that situation, from the bedroom, and she's put out your business.
Yeah, she's done all of that.
All right. So moving from there, what happened from that situation?
So from there, that's when I knew I needed to protect myself massively because I was like, okay, now she's going looking for stuff. I said, we have to be seen to speak to each other. We're in the same house, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, it got to a point where she was like, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this kind of thing. And I was like, fine, whatever. And she was like, look, I need to get out of here. We need to sell the house. And I was adamant initially, nah, we're not selling this house. I'm not selling this house. I worked too hard for this house. I'm not selling it. And that was just in passing. So it wasn't sell the house now. It was like she was like, I don't want to be here. I want my money. So I was like, all right, you want your money? Cool. I can raise your money. Because she only put in, let's just say she put in 28 grand.
Okay.
I was like, I can find 28 grand, you know. Do you know what I mean? Between my family, the money I have, I can find 28 grand for you. She didn't want 28 grand, bro. She wanted 72 grand. She was talking big numbers like 72 grand. And I was just like...
But where did she get the 72 from, though?
Oh, because she had the house valued. So she valued the house. So bear in mind, I bought the house for like 240. So she was like, she got it valued. Oh, we could sell this house for like 400k or 450. And off the money, bear in mind, I'm still the only one paying these times, the mortgage and everything.
So after you moved out,
I didn't even move. So I want to use the words carefully. I did not move out. I just didn't sleep there often.
Okay.
Do you get me? Because moved out, there's a whole controversy about that in terms of the law.
You agree?
Do you get me?
So we won't say that.
Yeah,
okay.
I never say I moved out. I say I didn't sleep there anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, she was just like, yeah, I want like 72 grand because when you do the math on this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like...
But if she hasn't contributed for how long, well, then I just kind of just...
Nothing. And I said that to her. I said, look, I'll give you the money back and I'll give you a little bit more. But you're not getting 70k. And she was like, well, that's what I want. And at these times, it was frosty.
So what happened from there?
Here's the drama now. The real drama. One of the nights I didn't stay at home. I've come back in the morning because I had to do training. And the training was past where I lived. So I would pick up my boots on the way to it. Went to go pick up the boots. Open the door as usual, walk into the house. There's a man like sleeping on the sofa. I'm like, who the F is this? So I'm like, yo, like, who are you? Kind of thing. And this is like 6 a.m., 6:30. I'm like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm so-and-so. I'm like, bro, I've known this woman for how long? I don't know you, bruv. Do you get me? I've never heard your name, kind of thing. But as I said, I'm not a violent person. I am, but I'm not. I always give people a chance. And I can see the snow. You know when you can see it? To me, it looked like a setup, innit? So I've rocked up in there. There's a man in your house. And you're thinking, yeah, you want me to wild out, innit? Nah, it's not happening. So I said to him, I said, look, my bro, can you please leave? My daughter's upstairs. It's not appropriate. You can just leave. Tell what's her face upstairs. You can just text her, say you're outside, or you can leave with her. You can do whatever you want, but you need to leave, kind of thing, because it's not appropriate. You shouldn't have slept here, yeah? He was like, no, I'm not leaving. And I just said, really? Okay, cool. Let me go upstairs. These times, actually, I'm not going to say that. I've gone upstairs and I've said to her quietly as well, I said, look, who's downstairs? And she goes, it's so-and-so. It's my friend. Why? And I was like, because it's not appropriate. He stays here. You're in the house with a man that I don't know and a young child, and you've got your son here. That's not appropriate. I said, because think about it. If anything happened to you and them, I wouldn't know who I've got to go find. Yeah. So I said, just for that reason alone, that's not even me saying I'm still in love with you. You're my child's mum. So I need to make sure you're safe as well. So when you're doing all your silliness, you need to be safe, kind of thing. So I said, I don't mind him being here when my daughter's not there. If you want your son to be here, you can. But if she is here, you can call me. I'll come and take her. You can have your fun with your friend. If it's your boyfriend, I don't care. She starts effing and blinding. You can't tell me what to do. I ain't telling him to leave. Da-da-da-da-da. I just went, all right, cool stories. I walked downstairs. I said, my bro. And I remember I just said, listen, you don't want to get mash up for her. It's not worth it. I said, it's like a setup. I said, bruv, come on, man. We're black, innit? Like,
you're trying to reason with him.
For about 10 minutes, I'm like, bruv, you got kids? He's like, yeah. I said, how would you feel in this situation? He said, oh, yeah, like, kind of thing. I said, bruv, I'm not even trying to, like, this don't need to be physical. But I said, do you know who I am? He goes, yes. I said, do you know what I do? He goes, yes. I said, okay, then. I said, you already know what I do. So I say, I don't know who you are. I want you to leave my house and you're not leaving. I have the right. I can use the powers to remove you forcefully. I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, what I'm going to do is ask you nicely once again. Yeah. My guy's like, oh, but I'm worried about her. I said, you can be worried outside, my bro. It's okay. I said, at these times, I'm not even raising my voice. I'm talking to him like this.
Yeah.
Just like, bruv, come on. And then it drags out, conversation. I said, you know what, this is long. I ring the police. I said, this is long because they want me to get violent. And I know that. So I'm intelligent enough.
Trying to
not
draw
to
you
be
out.
Yeah,
Trying to draw you out.
Bruv, I used the exact words. You're trying to draw me out. So I ring the police, say, yeah. There's someone in the house. Don't know. They're not leaving. Come down. And then at that point, he sort of was like, all right, cool, I'm going to leave now. They go and have their little chat in the kitchen, and then he leaves. I ring my sergeant, so I'm not dumb. I go outside, stand underneath my cameras, ring my sergeant and tell him what's going on. My sergeant's like, what? Dom, whatever you do, don't mash him up. Those weren't the exact words. He said other words, but I ain't going to say it on here. But he was like, yeah, whatever you do, don't do that. Because they understood. Cause I'd explained to them before what was going on at home.
Okay.
So they were like, all right, cool.
They're aware what's going on.
So they're like, all right, cool. Don't worry about it. Don't come in. Make a report because you have to report it. Because if there's any sort of argument at home, they'll call it a non-crime domestic. Okay. So there was no crime, but there was an argument between the two. Regardless of whether it was like a massive or a small argument, they just log it. So I said, cool, no problem. I rang my sister. My sister came down and I stood outside the cameras because I was like, they're going to try and say I was doing this and that. So I stood outside by the cameras. My sister come and then he had gone and then we had this conversation between the three of us. And she was just like, well, I'm calling the police on you because you called the police on me and I'm going to tell them that you were aggressive. And I was like, no problems. Yeah, no problem. I leave the house and the following day I go into work to report it. I'm reporting it now to my sergeant and I just said, you know what? I'm going to tell the whole truth. And I hadn't explained it in this so far, but the whole truth is she was abusive to the point, like physically abusive and obviously the alienation of my daughter throughout the relationship at times. So I went into... gave full context of what had happened in the relationship, where she had been physical, where I believe that she was also being abusive and alienation and all the rest of it. Sergeant takes it all down, cool. When you get to the end of doing these kind of reports that are domestic, what people need to understand is they check both sides. So they go, they do a history check to see if this person's made previous allegations. It's just part of what we have to do. My sergeant does it and he just goes, Dom, you're a named suspect on a Chris. And a Chris is the report, the crime report. And I was like, what do you mean? And he looks at it and he just goes, it was made yesterday. And I was like, was the name this person? And he goes, yeah, it was your ex. He goes, I can't tell you the allegation because he's not allowed to. But he was just like, it's not any of the big stuff. Okay. Lo and behold, she had installed a camera in the house and she had said that I had been making threats to her. And that was the allegation. He's making threats and and I'm going to say the allegation that I got. Because I say this all the time, bun the DPS. DPS, don't worry, I'll explain to you who they are. But they're a section of the police that I just don't really like. They investigate other officers. Okay. The allegation was I had said that if I wasn't a police officer, I would F her up. Because, so for full context, I said, if I wasn't a police officer, I would F her up. But she knows I would never do that. That's what angers me the most because she knows I'm not a violent person. That's why she keeps doing the abusive stuff. That's the full context of what was said. There was more, but that's pretty much how it went. She went to the police with that and she pretended like she was in the house and I said it to her. So the police are like, oh my God. Lo and behold, they investigate it and they're like, you recorded him? Yeah. When was this recorded taken? These times it's August. I don't know, maybe March. The police are like, and he's been in the yard all that time? Yeah, but he still said it. They closed it. They didn't even talk to me. The police closed it. And once they had told me that, my sergeant came to me and was like, yep, couldn't tell you about it, but now you like...
It's closed now.
Like, now I can be like, yeah, the allegation was rubbish, kind of thing. And it was, because those allegations, so for context, so everyone understands, threats to kill, threats of violence, the person needs to be there. Or if I'm saying it to you, yeah, you have to believe I'm gonna do it. So if me and you are talking and I'm saying, oh, I'm gonna smash her head in, and you're like, I don't believe you're gonna do that. The way I'm talking, what you know of me, all the rest of it, you're like, nah, he's not gonna do that. He's just saying that because he's venting. It's catharsis. That's not an offense.
Okay.
But if you were to go, oh my God, he's actually gonna mash her up, let me tell the police, then yes. So either you have to believe it to be true, or I have to say it to her.
Directly.
Yes. So if I say it down the phone, that still counts.
Yeah.
Do you get me? But if you say it and absolutely no one is in the house and you're saying it to yourself, or you're saying it down the phone to someone else, it doesn't count. Do you get me?
Because you're just, it's like you're just talking
Exactly.
out.
So how else are you gonna like think about it? Just imagine if that was actually the truth, and people were going to stuff like therapy, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and it made me feel like I wanted to smash this person's head in. You're getting arrested. So it's just ridiculous. So that was the allegation, and that allegation got closed. And what she did was she kept on making it. So she would go back and make another one, go back and make another one. And what people need to understand, in the current climate, you've got the people like Wayne Cousins who are doing all the madness, kidnapping Sarah Everard and like murdering her and all the rest of it. The police are hot on it. And also they're institutionally racist. So when they get a black man that they can get for anything, they're like, let's go kind of thing. So I got restricted. Because of the role that I have in the police, I got restricted, which is normal when you get a complaint. So I wasn't.
Am I allowed to ask what role you are?
I'm a firearms officer.
Okay.
So because I'm a firearm and I carry a firearm, I was okay with that. Sergeant was like, "Got to take your firearms card," and I was like, "No, I totally understand that. There's been an allegation. This is easily resolved, kind of thing." But what had happened in real time? So I know. So because of the information I know now, I can tell you, oh yeah, it got closed. So what had happened is she'd made a report. They had restricted me, but then they never told me it was closed at the time. So I stayed restricted for a long period of time. But what had happened is they had closed it and gone, this is BS, this is BS. That had dragged out until like November. And in November of that year, she had made the allegation. And when she'd made that allegation, she then went on to, because it's classed as abuse, because she'd made it, even though it was BS, they still went through the same process of how they deal with women that have been abused. So she applied for a non-molestation order.
Just to stop you there, it's just even though you work for the police force, they still treat you the same as they would treat me.
Worse.
Yeah,
we get it. Internally, we get treated worse, and that's not even a black or white thing. Everyone, all police officers get treated like scum.
Yeah,
like if you get an allegation against you, you're just guilty.
Okay. And is that by the DPS? Who's it?
The Directorate of Professional Standards.
Okay, so they're the one who will investigate you, and you would get it treated worse than if it was me.
Yeah. So see all the rights that you have as just as citizens and being in the UK, because I'm a police officer, they will just not adhere to any of those rights, and they'll just be like, "Well, what are you going to do about it? Who are you going to complain to? The police? That's us, bro. You can't do nothing." So what they did is initially I had restrictions of, oh, you can't go home and just stay away from her until this investigation is done, which would have lasted, I don't know, like a day, because it got closed immediately. What they did is they got involved and they were like, nah. Tell him he can't see her, can't speak to her, can't see his child, can't go home, can't go on the internet, can't do nothing, can't talk about it. And if he does, we're going to fire him.
On any what grounds though?
Nothing. Just because they can. So they did that. And I bear in mind, the initial criminal allegation had been closed. Yeah, she had made a non-molestation order. She had applied for one under some BS grounds. It wasn't even the allegation that she made to the police, and she did it ex parte. And this is really important because I need Bandem to understand when stuff are done ex parte, it's without you knowing. So they apply for it, and normally what would happen is the respondent would be me, would get it and be like, "This is what they're saying. give your side before we have to go to court. And we're going to look at it, and we may not have to go to court because it might just be rubbish. Or we might have to. They skip that process because the woman or her at the time would be scared, so scared that if they don't protect her in that way, she won't go to court.
Okay.
And it's a really important facility, but she abused it. Do you feel me? So she's done it ex parte, and then I get this email saying, "Oh, you need to come to court." And I'm like, "What do you mean I need to go to court?" Kind of thing. Bear in mind, I've been restricted internally not to go home. And then they've started piling on more ones, like you can't talk to this person, you can't go on the internet. Like they blocked my social media. And then, so I get the email. I'm just like, like at the time you feel like your whole world's falling apart because like I can't see my daughter, I can't go home, I'm homeless.
And you can't go work.
I've got no stuff. I can go into work,
but you're restricted into
what
the normal role.
And as a firearms officer, there's nothing else to do. You have a firearms officer, or you're not. Like there's no paperwork you're doing. So it's sort of like I was just like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go home, like just take time off. And they were like, my sergeants were cool because they were of the belief that it will all get resolved quickly because they can see all of the stuff that I'm not allowed to see. So they're just like, oh yeah, don't worry, it'll be fine soon. Non-molestation order comes, ex parte. And I'm just like, oh, what's this kind of thing? I'm reading through it. Luckily, my sister deals with the legal system, and I've got cousins, solicitors. So I'm lucky, and they sort of guide me through it. And I'm like, all right, cool. We'll be able to navigate this. I go to court, because court, when it's ex parte, it comes real quick. Because they're like, we're infringing on this man's human rights. So maybe a week went by. I go to court. And then the judge just throws it out immediately. He looks at all of the stuff, and I can't remember the allegations, but they were just pony. They were just ridiculous. And the judge just looked at him, he was just like, what is this about? He's just like, what's this about? Like, what's going on here? We're all here. You've made all these allegations. You've brought no evidence. This man can't go home. He can't see his child. He can't. What's going on? And she was just like, oh yeah, well, I feel like he's dangerous. He's made threats against me. Blah 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 blah. He's gonna get arrested again, and he's gonna get this. Bear in mind, I have not been arrested or anything. I had just been internally told there was a crime report.
So you have to stay away.
I was never arrested. Yeah.
It's like a process to have to follow, right?
No. If I had committed a crime, I would be arrested.
No, but I'm saying, regardless if there is a crime or not, if someone has made an allegation, there's a process that the police have to follow, even still to find out.
So, yes, if the allegation... So, because my allegation got closed immediately, it should have just been stopped.
Okay, got you.
Because they were like, he did not commit this crime.
And that's the end of that conversation.
That's the end of it. Yeah. But the DPS got involved... And they were like, well, we didn't really like the way that he allegedly spoke.
Okay.
And they've gone, well, because of that, they've tried.
But even still, you didn't say it to her. There was a camera in the house that obviously you didn't know about.
Nope.
And you was actually talking to your friend, venting, that's how you feel inside at that time. But it's not nothing directly to her or to anyone else.
And I even go as far as saying I'm not going to do it directly after. Do you get what I'm saying? So it wasn't even a thing where it's like I have to convince people I wasn't going to do it. A, I didn't do it. And B, I said I'm not going to do it directly after.
And 3, it wasn't directly at her.
Yeah. And bear in mind, and this was way before. So this happened around March. And we're in August when she's reporting it. So she's lived with me.
For over 5-6 months.
Do you get me? She's fully lived with me.
And nothing happened
Nothing
in that time.
ever happened. I have never touched this woman in my life. Yeah? Can't say the same for her. Yeah. So now I've gone to court. The judge is just like, this is rubbish. No, we're not doing this. He said there's no non-molestation order going to happen here. And what had happened is, so previously I used to speak to a lot of my friends about the issues I was going through with her. And some of them were police officers. One of them in particular works in the unit, the community safety unit. The CSU, and he was advising me for ages. He's like, do a non-molestation order, do a non-molestation order. You need to report this woman. If everything that you're saying to me is true, then you need to report her. She's abusive. I'm not having this. He got so angry with me that he said, if you don't do this, I'm going to do it.
Wow.
So I had to do it. So I'd done it. I'd done the form, but I never sent it off.
Okay.
And my mum, my sisters were like, you need to do it. You need to do it. And they were telling me for ages. But for me as a man, and this is my mistake, and this is something that I want a lot of men to understand, and they need to do it. If you're being abused, you're being abused. There's no macho thing about being like, oh, I can just take it. Do you get me? Because the worst thing that could happen is what happened to me, is that they just make an allegation against you and everyone believes them. And now you're like, actually, no, I was abused and no one's going to believe you. They're just going to be like, oh, you're just making counter allegations because you're malicious. And as I've said, look, judge, I'll take an undertaking, which is a promise to the court that I won't go to the house unless I tell her that I'm coming for whatever reason. And she goes, yes. Sounds reasonable, innit? Because I have no reason. I don't want to see her. I want to see my daughter.
But you're still paying for the house?
I'm still paying for the house. Okay. Still paying for everything. But now, because I've made that promise, I have to find somewhere else to live. So what I say to her is, after that, and she's gone, yeah, fine. She takes the undertaking. Or she didn't actually. She disputed it and was adamant that I should have an order because I'm a terrible human being. But whatever. After the judge made that decision, after I was just like, look, seeing as I'm not going to be in the house, you're going to have to... You're paying all the bills because clearly I'm not using anything. And we can split the mortgage. And she was like, I can't afford that. And I was like, that's a you problem. That's not my problem anymore. You have forcefully removed me out of this house. I'm not going to pay for it. So what does she do? She goes back to the police. She tells the police, he's financially controlling me. He's not paying for the mortgage, which means I'm going to leave the house and I can't be in there. What did the police do? Oh, let's protect this woman. She needs to be protected. So the DPS, they make more allegations. Luckily, so let me thank someone. The sergeant in CSU that could see through all of the BS that this woman was doing to me, thank you. So I'm looking into the camera for this. Thank you. You were just doing your job, but you don't understand how you affected my life. I probably wouldn't be here if you didn't do this. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I slipped into depression, all the rest of it. Lose my hair, lost my teeth. Like, I got missing teeth. I lost my teeth. I have to go buy new teeth kind of thing. I'm just being lazy, like, they're there, but yeah. Anyway, but all of that happens to me. And because that sergeant, and he argued and he advocated for me, and the reason I know this is because we've had to go to court, and in court you have to disclose everything. And the police were supporting her all the way through, even though there was no crime at this time. They were giving her information about me to give to the judge and be like, oh yeah, he's a bad person. So to give context, you'd have a crime report as a police officer. So let's just say DJ Ridler punched up this guy, and I'd write what happened or allegedly happened or what I know to have happened. And you're not really supposed to be subjective on it. So it's always objectivity. He punched the man with his right hand and it bruised his bottom lip. They would write stuff. I feel like he's a bad person because he does Muay Thai in K1. He's 6'4" and he's very intimidating. He's also very well controlled with his emotions. True words. And he is very articulate and very intelligent, which is a cause for concern. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, like, you're concerned that I'm articulate and intelligent. They are framing me as like this narcissistic or some psychotic man that is so good at being psychotic that he controls all of his emotions all the time. And you need to be wary of him. So, judge, you need to do something. They were writing all this stuff for the judge to see. And luckily, I had sick barrister. A lot of people go to court and they don't get a barrister in it. They're like, oh, no, I can do it myself. In my circumstance, I ain't risking that, bro. My barrister and my solicitor, shout out you, Amy, sick. Like sick. I always say, this is their job. Let me just listen to what they have to say. So the sergeant was like, no, closing it. The DPS decide, do you know what? Fudge this. I'm going to open my own crime report. They call her in and they go, do you want to, like, we're investigating him for misconduct, or we might do. So it's not criminal, just internal. Bear in mind, still haven't been arrested. This is November. Just tell us about your relationship kind of thing. I've read it. War and Peace. No offences alleged, just talking about how she believed I was cheating, how she, like, used to go through my phone, how what else? Like stuff like that. Went through my phone, believed I was cheating, was upset that we weren't there, felt as though that I didn't really care in the relationship, felt as though I wouldn't spend enough time at home. But these times, obviously, I'm working to pay for everything.
But I know, just sort of stop you there, but I do know, like, in a that kind of sector that you do, the shift hours are pretty long, right?
Bruv, I would go to work. I'd probably leave at like 5 a.m. due to where I was living, and I'd have to get to work. And I would come home sometimes 10 p.m.
Yeah, so that's like the shift time.
Sometimes I'm coming home and having to go straight back to work at another 5 a.m.
Next morning,
It's
yeah.
not like I'm going to take 12 hours between the shift. No, I've got stuff to do. So I would arrest people. And because I was on the gangs unit at the time, I used to do a lot of aftercare. So these were obviously young kids, like county lines and stuff like that. So I would pick up kids, arrest them, then I'd go get their mum, bring their mum, interview them, then take everyone home, sit down for another couple of hours talking to their mum and preventative methods and how to get them out. Or we've helped this kid and we're going to relocate them. Yeah. So now I'm helping relocate them. Then I have to go back and finish off the paperwork with, obviously, there's a group of us. But I would be the last one to go home majority of times because it was easier for me to get home than other officers. And I drive, so I'd leave my car somewhere. So sometimes I'd drive people home. Yeah. So there were times I would leave the house and all she sees is he left up. I woke up and he weren't there and I'm going to sleep and he ain't there. Like, he must be cheating kind of thing.
But not forgetting how everything's getting paid for.
Exactly. So I can understand why she said those things, but it is easily like explained. Do you know what I'm saying? 'Cause my job, I was doing it loads of hours. The DPS invite her in. She does her little statement. They go, all right, cool. How about we try and arrest this man for burglary of his own house? Because one time, in between the time in which the non-molestation order had been there or whatever, or she had, the non-molestation order, I'd gone back to the house like normal. Because obviously these things didn't happen day after day. There was like weeks or months in between. So I've gone back to the house as normal. You made your allegation, like no one cares, innit? Like let's go. Like, and I would always bring someone with me. I'd never go to the yard by myself. So I'd go in, and she jammed the key in the door. She saw me coming up the drive, jammed the key in the door, and I was just like, "Come on, man! Like, can you open the door, please?" No, I'm not opening the door. This specific situation I'm talking about now was pre the non-molestation order, just before. I believe that she in her mind, she probably thought she had it. She's like, "You're not allowed in this house," kicking off. And I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. And I just walked away from the door. My sister was like, nah, open the door, kind of thing. Like, this is both your yards, if not even more so his. Open up the door. Stop being dumb. Like, no one's here to like do anything to you. Just open the door. No. She rang police on me. Police came. I spoke to them. What did the police do? Police opened the door and just said, you can't keep him out the house. You cannot keep him out the house. She was kicking off and whatever. I said to the police officer, I'm just here to look after my daughter and this is also my house. So kind of thing. And the police were like, cool, no worries. And this is all recorded. This is the funny thing. So the police were recording the whole thing. And it happened. She did that to me twice. And because of that, the DPS were like, all right, cool. We're going to get him for burglary. And they opened the whole report saying, yeah, we're going to nick him for burglary, send the units down there, blah, 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 blah. He tried to break into his own house. Same sergeant went, you can't burgle your own house. Yeah, which you can't do. The DPS were fighting. They were having some internal... It's crazy when you think about it. They're having an internal fight on paper. And these forms that they're using to communicate are disclosable in court. Okay. So people can see they're arguing back and forth. One sergeant's going, I ain't doing that. And the other sergeant's like, you must do it because the DPS feel as though they're untouchable. Okay. Regardless of rank, they'll be like, well, they have this power because they will investigate you and destroy your whole life. They'll put restrictions on you for the maddest stuff, i.e. me, you can't go home, you can't speak to your daughter, kind of thing. And you're thinking, with what power? They're like, we'll just arrest you for something. What they were doing to me, burglary. It didn't get pushed through. So these times we'll fast forward. We're going back and forth through court. Normally what happens in court, I take her to court because she's not letting me see my daughter at this point. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to take you to court. Normally, it's only you go to 3 sessions. You have like, is it the pre-hearing? You have another one, and then you have the final hearing. It's like normally it's 3 times. Bro, it was about 2 year span. Not for 3 times, went about 6 or 7 times, and that's money.
How much would you say? Not the right
off the top of my head,
rough
probably
figure.
close to 50K.
And as is that on the barristers and the solicitors and
she was just making stuff up. And the issue, one of my main gripes with civil court and family court is she was using the platform to vent about not liking me and not why I shouldn't be seeing our daughter. And the amount of times people are asking her, okay, so why shouldn't he be in his daughter's life? Oh, I just don't want him to. I don't think it's safe. Okay, what has he done? Oh, well, he threatened me. No. What has he done to her? Well, he threatened me. And these times I can't talk.
It's nothing to do with the child.
Yeah, these times I can't even talk to say I didn't. Because my barristers are like, nah, we'll have our time, like, chill. Because of the way I look and the people that are sitting to the judge, and I'm not to say the judges were bad. The judges, in fact, were actually, it took too long. 2 years is too long. But they were fair. Okay. I'll keep it 100. They were actually fair. But they didn't always feel like that. But what they were doing is they were protecting themselves because she kept on making allegations. The police kept on writing to them, saying, oh yeah, he might, these times haven't been arrested. But it's just it's basically hearsay. Oh yeah, he threatened me. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. I'm so scared.
So did these people have like a personal vendetta against you for them to always trying to find something to try and do to get you done for?
They do now. Whether they had one before, I don't know. But I have, some people say I haven't helped myself, but I don't care. I've got a podcast, like I was saying to you before, I've got a platform in which it's called The Good, The Bad, The Ugly. And I talk about a range of topics within the police.
Okay.
And I actively highlight the bad side, the racism, the misogyny, the sexism. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't care.
It's all real.
Do you get me? I talk to police officers. I talk to serving police officers. I had the commissioner on my podcast, and the commissioner said it's institutionally racist. Man, them are going to come for you kind of still. And a lot of people told me. So the DPS, and I'm very outspoken about them. I've spoken to Sadiq Khan about them. Okay. I said, you need to disband them. I said, these guys are cowboys. If you want to find the baddest people in the police, go there. Because they have full autonomy. No one oversees them. So they can say, you're not allowed to speak to your daughter. Who is going to tell them they're wrong? No one. There's no one above them. Do you get me?
So they control, basically they control
everyone. If they wanted to investigate like one of the highest ranking officers, they just do it because they can. And I will get misconduct for saying that to you, but the reality is it's true because it's happened.
But you know what's so weird about all of that though, like with the DPS and that? I didn't even think, honestly, just how I've seen from like in the past, I always thought that you know it was all a part of one unit. I never thought that them man there, I know that they obviously have to investigate the police for the police, but I just thought, yeah, we're all together, so regardless, whatever happens, we're all one big family, so nothing can't really happen to you lot.
Nah. So as soon as you start, it's like there's this culture, there's a police culture, and it's really, really toxic. Everyone gets dragged into it at some point, but not everyone has to stay there. They tell you on day one, do not mess with the DPS. If they're coming for you, you're effed in the A, baby. Like, that's it, kind of thing. No one likes them.
They come like the
just
Matthews.
walk up to the average police officer. Anyone, just do it. Walk up to a police officer and say, how do you feel about the DPS? They'll be like, ban them. Like, and it doesn't matter who it is. They'll be like, nah, we can't mess with those guys. Them guys, they are the worst of the worst. I say they're such unscrupulous human beings. I don't think there's words to define them because it just wouldn't be enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Horrible people.
But it's funny you say that, right? Because I'm only just talking from like the past and to what I see it and understand, to see growing up, to see how a lot of us got treated in the area. And if we did go to the DPS to tell them how we've been treated, there was never an outcome.
So what you also got to remember, so let's just say it's true, 100% true what you said. There's also institutional racism within it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen this firsthand. I've seen this firsthand.
Some people, some officers, and a lot of white officers get in trouble. So, and I always say this on my platform, I'm not trying to dismiss the white person's experience. What I'm saying is it's significantly worse for black people. So where that DPS officer may, and I don't call every single one of them horrible human beings. As a collective, they are horrible human beings. But individually, you may find some that are very fair. And they may go, they'll look at it and they'll have their biases. And they may look and you'll be like, you made a report, and they'll look at it and they'll be like, this little black kid is upset with this white man. Who can I relate with more so? And they're like, but that's Steve. I go to the pub with Steve. I know his kids. Do I really want to put him through this? Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what happens. Okay. So as much as I say they're all of this and that, that's why you won't get the outcome that you necessarily want. Because, and history's shown us the culture of the police in terms of the DPS and the way that they investigated and the outcomes, the negative outcomes, i.e. in terms of like, even with Stephen Lawrence, do you know what I'm saying? The investigation was so terrible. They've had all massive inquiries and a lot of the failings come from the investigating officers. The DPS will be in a position where they're like, but there's just a black guy that's died. I don't really want to ruin this white guy's family, do you know? Because it would be white people investigating. I don't want to ruin their families. And who cares? Do you know what I'm saying? They'll have their biases. Do you know what I mean? And back in the day, it was significantly worse, more overt. And because they controlled what happens with police officers, when they get in trouble, they go to misconduct or gross misconduct. And when you go to gross misconduct, everyone calls it a kangaroo court. It's not a real thing. It would, back in the day, maybe pre-2005, I'm throwing out a number, around those times, the police used to chair it themselves. So there'll be no other impartial people. So think about it. If me and you are boys and you're a police officer and you slapped up some while you're at work and you're being investigated for it, you've been taken all the way to here and I've got to make the decision, but we're boys. I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? Have a written warning, bro. You shouldn't have done that, innit? Like have a written warning. And sometimes it doesn't even get that far because the DPS have the power to just say, nah, it's cool. Let's just not do this.
Okay.
And they'll just write to the person and be like, oh yeah, sorry, nah, it's not happening.
All right, so let me ask you this question then, right? Because I do hear a lot of fathers who come on there do say this, is that when they have a court order, when they are supposed to have the child, and they've gone to see their child, because they have the court order, and then the mother phones the police to say, oh, he's turned up, when he has a court order, why as officers cannot enforce that order if you lot are supposed to be a part of the same system?
Because officers are not allowed to get involved in civil matters. That's a civil court order. And this is something that we need to change. We need to apply criminal punishment on these orders for because they're not worth the paper they're written on. It's just basically people promising to say that they're going to do it. Because what happens at the end of your final hearing? The judge goes, okay, if anyone breaks any of this, we're going to be back here. Really? What's scary about that? For the malicious person, not always the woman, man, they're like, all right, cool, I'll just rock up back here. They're not gonna they don't care if they have to, they're not gonna spend any money, they'll just rock up and be like, oh, make up some rubbish. They never get held accountable.
And I think that's where the frustration comes from a lot of fathers, is that it's the paper, because I never heard of a mother getting arrested if she...
No, won't happen.
If she's obviously doesn't follow the court order, but then they're coming back, the father's then having to spend more money because nothing ever happens to the mother.
Bro, I've been to the police. I went to the police when I've had court order after court. I've had interim orders. I've got a final order now, but interim orders. And mum would breach them and be like, just not show up. I'm like, I'm not doing it because I just can't. I don't want to see you kind of thing. Because I have to bring her here and I have to see you, I'm not doing it. I'm like, what do you mean there's a court order? I went into the police station, reported it. The police officer rang me back. And they were, in their defense, they were really helpful. I had to write an email to say how helpful one of them were, because I've never experienced it that way. The detective rang me and just said, I can't do anything about it. There's no power of arrest attached to this. So I was just like, okay, so what are we doing? We're just going to court for bants.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it needs to be changed because they're not going to arrest the woman. They never do. but it's easy to arrest us.
Yeah.
Like me, and I'll get on to the bit where I got arrested.
How'd that happen? What happened there?
So we're fast forwards. Bear in mind, the allegations get made in August, November. Fast forward to summertime next year, 2022, 2023. What do you mean, 2024 now? 2023? Get arrested for controlling coercive behaviour. They've changed the allegation now. So they've gone, look, we tried to get him for burglary, didn't happen. Tried to get him for threats of violence or whatever, didn't happen. But let's just go with controlling coercive behaviour. That's like the lowest of the lowest. And I don't mean to like dismiss anyone's experiences, but in terms of offences, you've got other allegations, domestic ones that are higher that they could go with, that they didn't, because they know it wouldn't hit the threshold. It's one that you can easily hit a threshold for, but it's incredibly hard to prove. So it's like, oh, we can get him to go to court, and we can stress his life out, but once we get to court, the judge is probably going to go, yeah, no. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the police go with it. So they've gone with controlling coercive behaviour. Bear in mind, I ain't got no house. I'm not allowed to go home. And she wouldn't even let me go home and collect my stuff. I'd be like, I'd write to her, can I come and collect this stuff? No. I'm like, but the judge said that all I have to do is write to you to say I can come. No, you're not doing it. And if you keep writing to me, I'm going to say you're harassing me. I'm like, what? Whatever. Cool. I'm living elsewhere. These times, I ain't got no house. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm at my mum's house, if I'm at someone else's house, or wherever. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got a new partner, so things are sort of looking up. But it's still stressful, isn't it? It gets to summertime, and I get a phone call from my sister. I'm not at home. And she's like, the police are at the door. And my sister's not one to ramp with, innit? The police come to the yard, and she's like, what do you want? And they're like, yeah, we're looking for your brother. And she's like, well, I don't know where he is. Have you tried his house? And they're like, oh, he's not there. And they were like, oh, well, we think he lives here. She's like, he's got his own house. Go away. And they're like, nah, well, we need to speak to him. Have you got his number? She's like, he works for your organisation. You don't know where he is. She's like, have you checked at work? And they're like, where does he work? She's like, are you taking a piss? You've come here to arrest him, and he works in your organisation. You don't know where he is. You don't have his telephone number. You don't know where he lives. What's going on? And then she rings me, and she's like, oh, they're here. And I said, all right, let me put them on the phone. And I said, give them my number. So they ring me, and I talk to the guy, and he's like, oh, I'm going to need to arrest you, kind of thing. I said, all right, bet, no problem. I'll meet you at this police station. I ain't going to say because it's where I live. I'll meet you at the police station. And once I've done that, sort of the necessity to arrest me is no longer there. So they can't just be like, oh, I'm going to arrest you. Blah, blah. That's I wouldn't even call it a trick. That's just what it is. So if the police are ever saying, I'm coming to arrest you, go to them.
Okay.
Do you get me? Go to them. So I go meet them with my federation representative. That's someone internally who advocates for you, and my solicitor. Get there. They're not even there. They're just taking the piss. They're like, oh, we'll meet you at 1. Get there 1 o'clock. They're not there. 2 o'clock. They just suddenly rock up, and then I get arrested. And they take me into a side office. They're like, oh, you're under arrest for. And the allegations were mad. Like, it was all such a, like, I wouldn't say it's a haze, but because I've been through so much, there's a lot of stuff that I just sort of put it in a place and I just throw it away. But also I just get angry. Like, it'll get you so stressed and angry. So, what I do remember is the allegations were mad. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my fed rep. My fed rep's looking at me because he's been through this whole thing with me from beginning to end. And I've known him for years. And he's like, these allegations are old. Because you think they're all done. These are old ones. Oh, you threatened her with this, and you were financially controlling her, and we're like, right, this was the same stuff from ages ago. But he said, oh, don't worry, just listen. Oh, burglary, you tried to break into your own house, and we was like, how you break into your own yard? You can't. You can't, like, I didn't say nothing. I just sat there like this, just looking at my fed rep, and he was just like, yeah, don't worry. They take me into the cell, they take me inside, and then they start relaying the information. They have a custody sergeant. They have to tell the sergeant why you're here, innit? And there's a thing called PACE, Police and Criminal Evidence Act, in which that's what everything the police like basically work with. There's common law and other stuff, but we're just going to concentrate on that's the main thing. And it's called Code PACE G, and that's your necessity for arrest. I'm right, necessity for arrest, and it has to be for a prompt and effective investigation, i.e. you're going to interview them, but that's not something that you can really use anymore, kind of. It needs to be with something else. So it's to prevent loss of evidence, to prevent disappearance, to prevent harm coming to someone. So they've gone in and the sergeant's just like, yeah, so why is he here? And he knows I'm a police officer. They briefed him before. It's like, all right, cool, tell me what's going on. And they're like, yeah, he's arrested for burglary, blah, 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 controlling coercive behavior. He goes, all right, cool, when? And they were like, oh, when was this allegation made? Oh, like last year. He goes, what? Last year? And goes, what's your reason for him being there? Prompt and effective, so we need to interview him. There's nothing else now. Is there no evidence you need to get? Is there no, like... They're like, nah. The sergeant goes, all right, cool, 1 second. Walks out, takes them outside. You can't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't just bring someone in months after the allegation to say it's for prompt and effective. It's not prompt. It's like 8 months ago, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just illegal. So the sergeant's not happy. He comes back in. He's like, all right. They bring down some other people, like the inspector or whatever. They start talking, and then he goes, fine, I'm going to authorize it. Cool. Then we go into interview, and in interview, people need to understand this. It's a legal right that you have disclosure. So disclosure is what they have on you. They have to show it to you. In some cases, they don't, but 99% of the time, they have to show it to you. We get there, we're sitting down. I remember my solicitor, she's calm, some black woman. She was lovely. And she just goes, you never sent us the disclosure. What's going on? And they're like, oh, you know what? We ain't got none. She goes, you just arrested this man and you haven't got any evidence of him doing anything. Not even the statement. Nah, we ain't got the statement. We ain't got nothing. She was like, you do understand this is highly illegal. They were like, yeah, but... She's like, all right, don't worry about it. She just sat down, she just touched me on the leg and she's just like, chill on it, don't worry. Went through the interview, and I'll never forget this. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying it, but they are absolute dickheads. The sergeant, they're trying to play good cop, bad cop with me. The DS, banging on the table. He's like, yeah, you didn't want to pay the mortgage. You were financially controlling her. Just tell us the truth. That's what was going on. I was like, bruv, why are you so angry? Yeah. I'm like, I've done hundreds, maybe even thousands of these interviews. That's not how you conduct yourself. My man's banging on tables, shouting at me, standing up. And I'm like, I always laugh at people that do that. Because I'm like, if we weren't in this setting, would you act like this with me? Kind of thing. And it's just some weedy guy. Yeah, some weedy guy, but he was acting tough. And I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. Even my solicitor, sorry, not barrister, was sort of like, you need to chill kind of thing. Like, this is not appropriate. And then they were like, oh yeah, you were angry at her and you were threatening her because she was sleeping with other people. How did it make you feel that like she was getting like banged by other men? That must have upset you. And I laughed, bruv, I laughed.
No.
I laughed because, and he was like, why are you laughing? And I was like, I'm not butters, like, I'm all right. I can get girls, like, it's cool. Like, I was like, I don't mind if she has other relationships. That's okay. But I said, it's really inappropriate the way you're talking to me. And then it went like that throughout the interview. We had no disclosure. We gave a response, which was basically, no, I ain't done none of this. You already know I ain't done none of it. That's the reason it got closed. And we don't know why you're coming here with this rubbish. But a lot of stuff they didn't know, like I was paying all the bills. Up until then, I'm in custody still paying for the yard. And they're just like, oh, their faces dropped. They're like, oh, you're paying for the house. Yeah, I'm still paying for the house, idiots. Yeah. And they were like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. They finish it. And this is another highly illegal part. They're like, oh, we're going to bail you now. Police officers aren't supposed to go in cells, especially in my case. They've gone, they told my solicitor, you can go now. Because the bail part is just a couple of questions. Yeah. She don't need to be there, really. So then they just go, oh, no, you're going in a cell now. And I was like, you just said I was going to be bailed. They're like, no, we need to do some searches on property. I was like, why didn't you do that before, you idiots? Kind of thing. Like, you should have done that before. Because what if you found, I don't know, what if you found like all this stuff? Like, if I'm Pablo Escobar and I got all the drugs in the world, then you would have had to ask me an interview. Now you would have to go back and you just wasted time. And then the sergeants that were there before had all changed. And this woman, this female sergeant, had a real bee in her bonnet about me. She just didn't like me. She was like, and I deliberately went to the police station in a tracksuit, in something that I knew that if I did go in the cell, wouldn't have to take off. She's like, oh, I need to take your trainers and your laces. And I was just like, why? And she's like, oh, because you might try and kill yourself. I was like, no, I won't. Oh, and you got a drawstring on your tracksuit bomb. You can't have that. I was like, come on, man. I'm a police officer. I ain't going to do that. I just want to go home. Nah. So I just took off all my stuff right there. She was like, no, you need to put clothes on. I was like, nah. I was like, no, if you want to, like, we're playing this stupid game. I don't know what this is about, but fine. Go into the cell. And then the police officers, the stupid, idiot police officers, they come to my cell and they go, they open the flap and they're like, oh, where's your phone? I'm like, you can't talk to me without my solicitor here. Go away. Tell me where your phone is. I just kiss my teeth in it. I'm doing like, I don't know, lunges or some stupidness in it. Like that stereotypical prison rubbish. Some push-ups, lunges, whatever. And then he goes away, comes back again like 5 minutes later and goes, listen to this. These times, I've got a son, 3 months old at this time. Can you hear him? He's crying. We're at your partner's house. We're looking for your stuff. Tell us where it is. Can't you hear them? You're crying. They'll stop crying if you tell us. I just looked at my guy and I was just like, cool, innit? I said, you're really bad at this. I said, if you wanted to leverage my family on me, then maybe you should have threatened me with it before doing it. Now they're crying, my G. I can't change that. So he's done that. I've been in the cell for about, bear in mind, I got there maybe at 1, gets about 11 now.
So is this the same guy who was slapping the table? The same guy, yeah?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Go
same
on.
idiots.
Yeah.
They let me out maybe 12. They bail me. And then what they did is they put the same restrictions I had internally before on me as bail conditions now. So now I'm on bail. I can't go to my own yard. I can't speak to my ex. I can't, some other stupid stuff. So then obviously I go, my boy comes and picks me up. These guys follow us outside like we're like flipping mastermind criminals. And then we just cut. I find out that the police went to my current partner's house. They arrest her for perverting the course of justice because they believed that she had my phone and she was hiding it. And my solicitor told them, you cannot arrest this man for his phone. So because of the offence, controlling coercive behaviour, they were like, we believe there's messages that prove that he was being controlling. My solicitor said, so why don't you have them already? Because the other person should have them.
That's what I was about to say.
She's deleted them. She doesn't have them anymore. We believe that he still has them. She's like, you can't do that. She told them, she's like, you can't do that. And I hope you know you can't do that to him. They did it anyway. They're looking for my phone. They got upset, couldn't find my phone. Decided to arrest my partner. Threaten, in front of my son, say, oh, we're going to take your son away.
Then your son would then go to social services.
Yeah, well, I know he won't, but that's what they were threatening.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this is a person, my partner's just had a baby, 3 months. So she's very emotional. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can imagine how that will affect. Just getting arrested anyway.
Of course.
Then now you've got your child. Then now you've just had a child, and now someone's trying to say they're going to take your child from them. So yeah, they did all of that bullshit.
So they had a warrant and went to your...
No.
Was
So
there a
what
warrant
they do is
in
they get
place?
Section 18. And so what they said is they believe that I have evidence in one of these places. So they went to my mum's house and they searched my mum's house for, we don't even know what they were searching for. And then they went to hers and they were looking for like my car and all this other stuff. They never got anything. They took my laptop and my computers and then they never found anything. They didn't get anything else. Fast forward, they bailed me. They then re-bailed me again because they can bail you up to 2 times or more. But after 2 times, they have to put it all the way up to like a commander has to authorize it. And then they just NFA'd me. They just went, oh yeah, no further action. There's no evidence to say that you've done any of these things. Yeah.
So
Like nothing happened. Just like, yeah, nah.
Okay.
But these times what they did is they just went for me internally. They're like, because you've had these allegations of violence against women, we believe that you've done it, so you now have to have gross misconduct. We believe that you've done all these things. And I was like, but you couldn't prove it before, like criminally. Yeah, we don't need to have that threshold. The threshold is lower. It's a balance of probability. So it's like a toss of a coin. Or no, it's probably even worse. Like could it have happened? Anything can happen.
So going back to your work position then, when you was working, did you still have to then remain not being a firearm at that particular time?
Yeah, throughout this whole process, I can't be a firearms officer. So, so these times I was working from home, just doing other random stuff because my sergeants were like of the belief he's coming back to work because this is all rubbish. And it was, because they eventually, inevitably NFA'd me for whatever allegations they made up. But all they've done is they get angry and they go, we'll come for you internally. So that's what they're still doing kind of ish now. But it's been over a process of nearly 3 years. They've been investigating me and I haven't found anything.
3 years, haven't found nothing. Have you been able to go back to your normal position at work? Or you're still...
No. And this is the mad thing. And this is what I said to the mayor as well, Sadiq Khan. I said, you've got officers that you're suspending, restricting for years and you're paying us full money. I'm getting paid to just jam. I'm vibing. And I'm like, that's not appropriate. Do you know what I'm saying? It's funny. It is funny. I laugh about it. I take, do you know what I'm saying? I do videos and stuff like that. But it's not appropriate. Everyone else is paying for me to be at work and I'm not at work because this specific group of people are like, we need to get him and they can't.
So they're trying to find any way of trying, but for 3 years they ain't found nothing on you.
Nothing.
They still keeping you low.
Yep.
For whatever be having you to be out there.
So if you're under investigation, then you can't go to work. You can't work, especially in my
fields.
Yeah. So they're just keeping me under investigation, and this is something that affects a lot of police officers, regardless of color. When you get investigated for any crime, what they'll do is they'll go to your partners and they'll go to your family and they'll try and get your family to turn on you. They went to my partner and they were like, they spoke to her recently and they were like, we just want to let you know he was alleged to have committed a crime against a woman. So we just want to, if you want to come and talk to us kind of thing. She was violent. She was like, well, how dare you? She was like, I was there. I was there when he was being abused. I was there when you lot came and you MFers arrested me. So don't you dare come and try and pretend like we're cool. We're not cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they wrote to the court. They gave her information that they weren't supposed to give her. They gave her crime reports unredacted. So what that means is normally if you're giving sensitive information over about a person to another person, you would redact sensitive information. You wouldn't let them see certain stuff like where they live, how old they are, information you wouldn't get unless you spoke to that person. Sorry. They didn't redact it. They gave her everything. So all the thoughts of the officers that were investigating me, they gave to her and were like, yeah, give this to the judge. You never know, you might be able to sway it, innit? Like, kind of thing.
It's more of a power thing to them.
And then they're categorically not allowed to get involved. And the police the DPS do it willy-nilly because they can, because no one is brave enough to stand up to these guys and talk about that. Like I'm talking about it now. They're going to come for me more, pause. But they're... Sorry, I have to pause it. But I don't care. Like at this point, I don't care. I have to stand. If it would encourage other men to stand up against these, or police officers to stand up against these people, then I'll do it. It's calm.
And obviously, talking to you before we started off camera, you also said there's also lots of other officers who's gone through not also seeing their children.
Loads. They've reached out to me because of my platform, and I don't really talk about like how the abuse I went through, alienation, and all that. But they sort of cottoned on and they're like, yeah, this is happening to me. So I can help them, guide them through the process because I'm on the back end of it now, so it's calm. To go back on with the ex, we've got to a final hearing. It wasn't easy. She made it very difficult. Her position was he shouldn't have her 50-50. He should see her every other weekend. And I was just like, are you mad? Oh my God, she moved away. Oh my days. So while she was still living in the same area as me, our daughter used to go to the nursery, the local nursery, one day she just decided, when we had put the house up for sale, because I had to
Okay.
put the house up for sale, because I was just like, bun this. I didn't want
Too much now. Yeah.
Put the house up for sale, selling it now. She's because I couldn't get the money she wanted. She wanted like 72,000. I was like, I can't get 72k. She's like, oh, I just remortgage the house. Da, 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 da. I said, I can't remortgage and get that much. It's just not gonna happen, kind of thing. And then she ran away with my daughter.
Wow.
She went to the nursery. So she said to me, you're not seeing her. The only way I can see her is on her terms. You can see her like on Monday and Tuesday at between 9 and 5. And you have to pick her up at 9 o'clock, but you can't pick her up. Someone else has to pick her up at 9 a.m. on a Monday. Who doesn't work at 9 a.m. on a Monday?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I was like, all right, I can, let me see if my mum can help out or someone can help out. So I'd go get my mum, drive up there. My mum will go. My mum's old these times and she's struggling. Like, we live on a slight incline hill road and my undertaking was not to be within 100 meters.
Okay.
So I would park at the end of the road, as far away as I could without line of sight, because I need to have line of sight with my daughter and my mum because I'm protective, innit? My mum would walk up there, go there. That happened maybe 1 or 2 times. And then she reported me to the police again. She said, I can see his car. He's intimidating me. He's trying to intimidate me by seeing his car. I was like, it's an undertaking. I promised, you didn't force me. I promised I'd be 100 meters away. She went to the police and then took me. She said, I'm taking you to court because I believe you're going to kidnap the child. She did that. The judge was just like, oh my God. Judge Cole, I'm going to say your name. Judge, I love you. You're sick. She's a woman. She's sick judge. She walked in. She sat down. She didn't sit down. She before she sat down, she went, I know exactly what's going on here. I've seen this all before. Mum, you're taking the piss, essentially. I'm not having it. He's seen his child. I'm telling you right, this is how she started the thing. He is seeing his child. So unless you've got something new that you haven't given to me, he's going home and he's going to see his child and she's going to be with him overnight. Yeah. We sit down. Mum immediately starts arguing. No, blah, 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 blah. He can't see her. Da, 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 da. She goes, did you not hear what I said at the beginning? I said, what new information do you have for me? She was like, none. She goes, cool. He's seen her. She said, listen, if I see you again, you're not going to have a good day.
Wow.
To her, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't have to do anything. I just sat there and I was just like, this does work, kind of thing. Whereas the judge that I had that was presiding and seen it over and over again, she wasn't the one always there, but she was like a specialized judge that dealt with family court. She was like, nah, I've seen this game, I'm not having it, bun you, kind of thing. And so she helped me get overnights, and that was a period of where I would have her, was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday kind of thing, overnight, and it was great. We'd have her, never any problems.
All right, bro, listen, cause I need to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're gonna be here all day, bruv. Yeah.
Time is getting on us now. So what I do want to touch on, you went to the final hearing.
Yes.
What was the outcome on your final hearing?
Final hearing is 50-50, like I asked for. I got the school of my choice because the judge, mum was angry about, she wanted the school where she is and she's far. She moved out of the way and the judge was like, you made that decision. You've messed up this situation. That's on you. Child is going to school here, closer to me.
Yeah.
So our child goes to school where I chose, good school, 50-50, and I got to choose how the changeovers and everything works.
Okay.
There's no restrictions. There's no nothing. Do you get me? I've split the week. I wouldn't say it benefits me, but it's so I see my daughter every week. Some people do week on, week off.
Yeah.
I see my daughter every week because I need to have an influence on her every single week and make sure everything's running smoothly. And so far, touch wood, if there's all plastic, but it's
wood behind you.
Yeah, it's you get me. It's been calm in the sense that I think she's finally realised I've lost, kind of thing, because she didn't want me to see our daughter. The judge has just said, nah, 50-50, he can do it. And he basically just said, bun all of your allegations. He got really angry with her because we told her, he was like, you've got allegations from the police internally. Yeah, from her. And he was angry. He was like, you can't use that as a weapon, because he could see what she was doing.
So how do you not even co-parent? Do you not even talk through, like, talk messages?
Bro,
It's literally don't.
So it's the dumbest thing in the world. And hopefully she sees this and sees how ridiculous it is. But she wants to use, there's an app called Our Family Wizard, which I've been advocating for from the start. I used it. And now she's saying, oh, let's use it kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, cool, no problem. But that's it. There's like, it's stupid though. It's stupid because there's times like parents even, there's going to be times we're in the same place and emergencies may arise where I need to ring you and be like, yo, I'm not going to open no app and be like, oh, actually, hopefully you see this now. No, you should know ASAP. But that's for her to experience when it happens, unfortunately.
And we spoke how many years ago?
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it dragged. 3 years ago.
3 years,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ,
We spoke years ago when you were at the early stage of this going on. I think, or I don't know what stage it was at the time, but I did know that you was very frustrated and for what you was going through.
Man. I was stressed. I was upset. I felt as though no one wanted to listen to what I had to say. As men, we like to fix things, and I could quite easily, in my mind, I could see how this could be resolved.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Let's just do it. But everyone was just putting in obstacles in my way. But relinquishing power to my barristers, my solicitors, having a good support network, just, you know what I'm saying? People that genuinely love me, good friends. Like, shout out my brethren, obviously the wife, but shout out the man them who actually dare, like, do you get what I'm saying?
Followed you through the process.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
They would like just always speaking positive energy, just like, it's cool, you got this. Like, they're like, as long as I've known you, when you do something, you do it, innit? So this is just another thing, kind of thing. And it's the same for everyone else going through this. Just break it down into little pieces and just do it one bit at a time and you'll be fine, man.
Yeah. Bro, honestly, I want to say thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you, bro.
I want to say congratulations for the outcome, for being patient, following the process, even though it was stressful. But I want to say well done for that. Is there anything you like to say before I finish?
All the man them that are in, if you feel like anything that happened to me resonates with you, go to the police, do a non-molestation order, don't leave your house. Do that massive mistake. Do not leave your house, and always record yourself when you're in the presence of those people. Yeah? And you'll be okay in the end. Just know we don't get to inflict karma. The karma happens. We can only hope to see it. Yeah, that's all I say to people. Don't be that person. Just sit back, just be patient and trust that it's going to work out.
And what I will also say to you as well is that we all think that all the police are the same and not realising that all police are not the same. It's just that we just look at the uniform.
Of course.
Yeah, it's the uniform what makes us separate each other from to think, all the police are just bad people, but there are good people like yourself who's in the force, and there's also many other good officers who are in the force, so not everyone is bad. So I would just like to also put that out there as well.
Yeah, man, there's a bunch of guys out there in the police that are genuinely wanting to affect change, and they save people on a daily basis. Shout out all those people. There's a bunch of idiots as well, so bun them. But trust me, there's a lot of officers that are trying their best for everyone. So yeah.
Cool. So listen, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched today's episode. It has been a different episode, very interesting as well. Just also that you know that it seems that everyone goes through this. There's not any special people get special treatment. It seems that it doesn't matter from whatever workplace you're in to what culture, gender, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter what we are, but we all seem to be going through this same issue of fathers having issues of getting access to see their child. All right. So listen. Do check out the website, is thebabyfathers.com. Do check it out. There is information in there that can help you to make you start the process on trying to get access to see your child again. And yeah, so listen, make sure you subscribe to the channel, press the notification button till a new episode comes out, and don't forget to like and share. All right, so for myself, DJ Ridler, from the Baby Fathers podcast, peace. Obviously, I can't forget Dominic say.
Yeah, TGTBTU, man.
Yeah.
Podcast, there you go.
Listen, till next time, peace. Boom. We out.